If you have ever looked at a standard four-door sedan and thought to yourself, this is far too dignified and I would much rather travel in something that looks like a rejected prop from a low-budget 1950s sci-fi movie, then you are in for a treat. Welcome to the world of the 1957 Inter 175A Berline, a vehicle that proves that when aircraft engineers get bored after a world war, things start to get very, very weird. Before we dive into the mechanical madness of this French plane without wings, do yourself a massive favor and hit that subscribe button. It's the only way to ensure your feed stays populated with vehicles that look like they were designed by people who had never actually seen a road. Now let's talk about the Inter, a car so eccentric it makes a three-wheeled Reliant Robin look like a sensible choice for a suburban family of 5. The Inter 175A Berline was the brainchild of the Société Nationale de Construction Aéronautique du Nord, or S.N.C.A.N. for short. As you can probably guess from that mouthful of a name, they weren't exactly in the business of making grocery getters. They were an aircraft manufacturer. In the late 1950s, post-war Europe was gripped by a desperate need for cheap, efficient transportation. The French, being French, decided that instead of building a boring little box with 4 wheels and a steering wheel, they would simply take a plain fuselage, chop off the wings, then hope for the best. The result was the Inter, a microcar that looks like it's perpetually trying to take off from the driveway but can't quite figure out where it left its propellers. It's narrow, it's aerodynamic in all the wrong places, and it's painted in the kind of colors that suggest the designers were inspired by 1950s kitchen appliances. The first thing you notice about the Inter, besides the fact that it's shaped like a very angry metallic tadpole, is the seating arrangement. It features tandem seating, which means the passenger sits directly behind the driver. This is fantastic if you are driving someone you don't particularly want to talk to, or if you enjoy the feeling of being in a fighter jet while actually only doing 25 miles per hour on the way to the bakery. The driver sits in the middle, staring through a wraparound plexiglass canopy that provides a wonderful 360-degree view of all the people pointing and laughing at you. Because it was built by aircraft engineers, the canopy actually hinges to the side to let you in. It's very dramatic. You don't just get into an Inter, you embark upon a mission. You climb in, seal the bubble, and prepare for a journey that will likely involve several mechanical failures and a great deal of sweating, as the glass canopy acts as a highly efficient greenhouse for human beings. But the real party piece of the Inter 175A Berline isn't the seating or the looks, it's the front wheels. Most cars have wheels that stay in one place. Not the Inter. The Inter features a folding front track. Yes, you read that correctly. The front wheels can be tucked inward toward the body of the car. Why? Because in the narrow cobblestone streets of 1950s France, the engineers figured you might need to squeeze your car through a doorway or hide it in a particularly large broom closet. When the wheels are folded in, the car looks like a cat that has tucked its paws under its chest. However, there is a catch. If you try to drive with the wheels folded in, the car has the stability of a tall man on a unicycle. It is essentially a rolling physics experiment designed to test exactly how much leaning a human can tolerate before they tip over and become part of the scenery. Powering this aeronautical fever dream is a 175cc Yidral single-cylinder 2-stroke. For those of you who aren't fluent in tiny French engines, 175cc's is roughly the size of a modern lawnmower engine. It produced about 8 horsepower. 8, that is fewer horses than you would find on a medium-sized carousel. To get this car moving, the engine has to work harder than a caffeinated squirrel on a treadmill. The top speed was allegedly around 50 miles per hour, but reaching that speed required a very long, very straight road, a significant tailwind, and a complete lack of your own personal safety. Because the engine is a 2-stroke, the car doesn't so much as roar as it does yelp and emit a cloud of blue smoke that smells like a chainsaw fuel in regret. However, the most legendary and arguably the most terrifying feature of the Inter 175A is the gyro starter. In a normal car, you turn the key, the starter motor engages, and the engine fires up. In the Inter, because S.N.C.A.N. couldn't stop being aircraft designers for 5 minutes, they used an inertia starter similar to what you'd find on a small helicopter or a vintage fighter plane. When you engage the starter, a massive internal flywheel begins to spin. It makes a rising mechanical whine that sounds exactly like a jet engine preparing for takeoff. Wee-yo! It's incredibly cool. The problem is that the gyro starter is notorious for being temperamental. If the engine doesn't fire on the first try, you have to wait for the flywheel to spin all the way down before you can try again. This means that if you stall at a green light, you have to sit there for 45 seconds while your car makes a descending sad trombone noise, followed by another minute of jet engine noise, all while a line of angry French motorists in Citroën 2CVs honk their horns at you. Driving an Inter 175A Berline is less like operating a vehicle and more like wrestling with a very small, very confused animal. The steering is handled by a set of handlebars, or in some versions a steering wheel that looks like it was stolen from a child's pedal car, connected to a complex series of linkages. Because there's only one wheel in the back, hitting a pothole is a unique experience. In a four-wheeled car, you can usually straddle a bump. In a three-wheeler, if you miss the hole with your front wheels, the rear wheel is guaranteed to find it with the accuracy of a heat-seeking missile. This sends a jolt through the tandem seating that ensures both you and your passenger are fully awake and questioning your life choices. The Inter was offered in a few different versions, including the Berline, the closed canopy version, and a cabriolet version for those who wanted to experience the blue two-stroke smoke without the greenhouse effect. They even made a version called the Leisure Auto, which sounds like something you'd use to commute to a disco in the year 2000. Despite the various models, only about 300 Inters were ever built between 1953 and 1958. Turns out the market for a car that required a pilot's license to start and a gymnast's flexibility to enter was surprisingly small. The company eventually realized that people actually preferred things like four wheels, doors that don't hinge toward the sky, and engines that don't sound like a UFO having a panic attack. Today, the 1957 Inter 175A Berline is one of the most sought-after microcars in the world, mostly because so few survived the inevitable fate of being abandoned in barns when the gyro starter finally gave up the ghost. Seeing one in person is like seeing a unicorn that has been put through a trash compressor. It is a glorious, shimmering monument to a time when engineering was driven by "why not" rather than "should we." It's a car that makes no sense, serves no practical purpose in the modern world, and would probably be overtaken by a briskly walking tortoise. And yet, you can't help but love it. It's got more personality in its single rear wheel than most modern SUVs have in their entire heated leather interior frames. It's a French airplane that forgot it couldn't fly, a three-wheeled hero of the eccentric, and a reminder that the history of the automobile is paved with the weird, the wonderful, and the occasionally airborne. If you ever get a chance to sit in one, do it. Just make sure you have plenty of time to wait for that gyro starter to spin down.